Hey, what it do, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're just having a great day. So I know in the last video I said that we're going to be working on the Fummins today, and as much as I want to, we kind of have to push it back just a little bit because I have to finish the 299. I started working on that probably like 2 weeks ago. We were able to track down where the actual problem was, so I'll be showing you guys some of that footage. And I just got back from Caterpillar with the brand new sensor that we're going to need for that. It's almost $700, so I have to get that up and working by today. Then if we're able to get that finished, I am gonna try and do some work on the gantry crane. We'll try and get that closer to being finished. I don't know if we'll get all the way done today. And I think that's pretty much gonna be what today's video is about, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's go ahead and jump on into it, and let's roll. All right, guys, well, we have officially gotten to the bottom of where the problem is. I spent about half an hour underneath the cab. We're just gonna see how ghetto we can get right now. I got it plugged in. Break. I've been running from away we go. You guys, this truck is so rad. This thing is just like the epitome of a hand-built truck. I love this thing. All right, here we go. Pulling into the shop. Try to catch me howling at the moon. So as far as the 299 goes, I'm gonna try and isolate a couple more things before we go ahead and drop the money on a new joystick position sensor. There is a possibility that it is just a bad ground. All right, well, first up on the list, we're gonna go ahead and start taking everything apart. It is a, whatever size this is, a T30. They use a bunch of torque stuff to hold all these casings on. Nothing about working inside these cabs is comfortable. I know you can slide forward, there we go. Are you serious right now? They have one torque screw in here that is a different size than all of the other ones. Go figure. Am I missing any? How the heck are you supposed to get those off? Definitely dirty in there. So we've got a faint glimmer of hope that it is not the actual joystick position sensor. We'll be taking that out in a little bit if this does not work. So the last thing that we're gonna be checking for is a bad connection or a broken ground wire or something along those lines, because this actually has an air ride seat and it's constantly moving up and down like that as you're out rolling around. So the wires, they do have a tensile strength and eventually they break. So it is possible that one of the connections back here is bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and start wiggling these wires around that are down underneath here while we turn the machine on to see if at any point it actually completes the circuit and re-energizes this. I don't think it will, but there's a slight chance. And if I can find that wire, I'd rather fix that than drop the money on a new position sensor. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing to do what it's supposed to. So the machine's not even running yet and it's still recognizing that it's having an issue. So let's go ahead and see if we can wiggle these around down here. All right, so I've got all the zip ties disconnected. You guys can see that we got the pigtails hanging down freely right now. These were like super bunched up. I'm not sure why they would put such a hard bend in the wires, but I need to run back down the shop real quick so I can grab some Allen wrenches so we can go ahead and take all this apart so we can start to double check everything. And it'll be a lot easier to do with this out because we'll actually be able to pull all of this up to this area right here where we can double check and clean everything. All right, so we've pretty much got everything disassembled. We got the actual controller. This is the joystick position sensor inside of all of that. We did have some pretty serious chafing right here, but that's actually just for the buttons up here and the speed selector switch knob up here. That does not actually control anything on the joystick moving. The controls for that is this little wire loom down here, and I don't see any chafing. I went ahead and took off all the green tape, and I don't see anywhere where any wires are touching. So we're gonna go ahead and plug everything back together. I'm gonna turn the machine back on and we'll see. Hopefully it just had like a dirty connection maybe. And then if that doesn't do it, we're gonna go ahead and chase these wires a little bit farther back. I'm gonna try and figure out which one's the ground once we get the actual machine turned on. So we just keep working our way back down there to make sure that everything's good. All right, well, I've officially gotten to the bottom of it and figured out what the problem was. I spent probably about 15 minutes underneath the cab double checking, making sure that there were no loose wires, nothing was frayed, that nothing had been chewed by squirrels, anything like that. Found absolutely nothing. But what that means is that we can actually get the machine down to the shop now to where we can go ahead and actually clean the cab out a little bit, because we're gonna be spending a lot of time down in there buttoning everything back up, putting all the right zip ties in place. And between moving the joystick from this side to this side, I will be able to pick things up, get it down to the shop, get it fueled up because it is on fumes right now. So hopefully we don't run out of diesel on our way down to the shop, because that would be unfortunate. I do not feel like repriming everything. So let's go ahead and get it started. And I wonder if I can just disconnect this and reconnect this one like intermittently without having to turn the machine off and on to see if it'll actually work. But right now you guys can see that it says right joystick forward, reverse position sensor, voltage above normal. And that's because it's disconnected and we have this one connected. But now if we hit the park button, you guys can see that it went ahead and released everything. So we can move the machine now, but I'm not gonna be able to move it very well with the attachment on the ground. So let's go ahead and we'll do a quick flip flop. We're gonna go ahead and pull the wires all the way out. So I can just have the wiring harness kind of floating around like the other one. We're just gonna see how ghetto we can get right now. We're gonna go ahead and plug this into the right-hand side. Can't really do with both hands. Let's see. Okay. All right, we got hydraulics. Oh, beautiful. Now that we got the arms up, let's go ahead and disconnect it again. We'll go ahead and switch it over to this side. All right, so we made it down to the shop. I just have one minor issue. I can't get out of the tractor now, so I gotta go ahead and lower the attachment back down, which means gotta go ahead and disconnect this again. And hopefully it still works. Yep. So now we can put some diesel in it. So this is definitely something that Caterpillar does not want you taking apart. You guys can see we got the warranty void if seal is broken sticker. There's all the part numbers for it. But since we're out of warranty, I'm gonna go ahead and open it up anyways. What do you guys think? Do you think I could save this sticker? Oh, look at that. Warranty still intact. We can hold on to that. All right, well, this is the brains of it. This is pretty much what makes the machine move. As you move the joystick around, it basically rotates this stuff around. And this little sensor right here is able to pick up on whether or not this thing's moving back, forward, or side to side. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't see any more frayed wires in here. I'm pretty sure that this little module right here is toast. I really hope that they're gonna have this in stock, but I'm kind of leaning towards they're gonna have this entire assembly for sale as opposed to just this. So let's cross our fingers that we can get this little part, because I don't think this will be super expensive, but I think the rest of this would add a couple pennies to the price tag. So as it sits right now, there's nothing else that I can do, and I'll see you guys on Monday. I was super mistaken, and I'm really hoping that I can find this part, because I was just looking them up online, and this is $1,500. So let's cross our fingers that I can find this, and hopefully we don't end up having to spend a fortune to get the $299 back up and working. So I'm gonna go home and cry for a little bit. That is just too much. Anyhow, I'll see you guys back on Monday. So here is the wonderful $650 part in all her glory. It's really not very impressive, but it's something that we have to have. Like, I actually need it tomorrow. The $299's gotta do some work. So this is something that had to be bought. No, it kind of stinks. Just had to bite the bullet. Come on, get out of here. All right, there she is. Look at that. Magnificent. Anyways, let's get this thing put back together. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and try and get fancy here. I'm gonna use something that I haven't used in quite some time. So this really is not a complicated fix. You just got some torque screws and then this top handle is gonna come off. Now when I was at Caterpillar this morning, they sell this entire assembly with a new joystick. But that was, I think, $1,300, almost double the price. So we opted out for just the replacement of this handle onto the base controls. So the only thing that's really left to do is, you guys see they have these two little zip ties right here. Caterpillar preemptively put them on already, and then all you had to do is basically run your wire through it, and now we're gonna go ahead and clamp them down, and then we will cut them off, and it is ready to reinstall. And I'm not gonna have to switch back and forth joysticks between sides anymore anytime I want to move it. We are good to go ahead and start reinstalling everything. This is all the old hardware. I think these are the ones that connected it to the tractor, so we'll go ahead and drop those in. So before we go ahead and button everything back up, I'm just going to go ahead and reconnect both sides. We're going to take it for a little test drive, make sure that everything works, because as I'm thinking about it, it would be pretty dumb to put all of this back together and for some reason this not work. Even though it does work with this joystick, I just want to make like 100% sure. All right, well I guess now is as good a time as any. Go ahead and see if this thing actually works now. Really hope it does. I really hope this thing works, because if it does not, I'm going to be in a world of trouble tomorrow. But I think we're good, guys. We don't have the flashing light up here anymore. Turn off the parking brake. Controls over here. Oh, yes. Guys, we are back in business. The 299 is alive. So we are going to go ahead and button everything back up, put all the covers back on, put the 1,000 zip ties that I cut off inside of here. Then we're going to swap it out with the bucket so she is ready to go tomorrow, and hopefully I can make some money. All right, we finally got all the zip ties in place, got all the wires tucked up so they're not going to be rubbing. We got nothing hanging down. It's actually a lot harder than you would think it'd be. It is not very easy. There's like no convenient spot to like get in there and work. You're super awkward. You like got your hands tucked over your head. Anyways, that's all done. We just got to put the 2 plastic covers back on, and this project is a wrap. And I'm very excited for this. I have severely missed having that tractor. She is just like the workhorse of the ranch. That and the Polaris Ranger are probably the 2 most used pieces of equipment out here. We're gonna go ahead and clean these up a little bit on the dirty side. Not that it really matters too much anyways. It's gonna get dirty in there pretty quick because the air conditioning is actually going out on it too. Because that poor 299, she's just breaking all over the place. But eventually we'll get it back to like new conditions. It's just gonna take some time. All right, this should go pretty quick. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to cut that zip tie. Dang it. Guys, it sucks working in this cab. It's really like super inconvenient. It's really dumb. They've got 3 screws that are exactly the same and then 1 that's different. I can't understand the reasoning behind that one, but that's how they did it. And I can't remember which ones are which. All right, guys, well, that is another successful repair in the books. And I'm gonna be honest, I am slightly surprised because, all right, well, that is another successful repair for the books. And I'm gonna be honest, I am slightly surprised because I did not lose 1 nut, 1 bolt, 1 screw, no nothing. Everything I took off went back on. So as far as the 299 is concerned, we are done. So we're gonna go ahead and shift gears a little bit. We're gonna start to focus on the gantry crane. So as far as the gantry crane is concerned, we are going to be using the caster wheels. Well, they're not really caster, they're like a fixed point wheel from Harbor Freight. They're rated for 600 pounds each, which isn't awful, but it's not great. I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, OfferUp, you name it, trying to find some super heavy duty casters. And I need 8 of them, and that's where the problem is. But if you go buy the new super heavy duty, like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 pound rated caster wheels, they are crazy expensive, like in the hundreds of dollars for each one. So we opted for the Harbor Freight ones for the time being, until I come across a deal of a lifetime where we are able to switch them out. I'm going to build the mounting hardware for them, mega sturdy, but that is definitely gonna be the weak point on this. But it's gonna work for the time being. It's gonna be enough to lift the cab up and actually slide these back and forth. And then when we do get the heavy duty wheels, it's not gonna be that hard to switch them out. Before we get to that point, we need to go ahead and square everything back up because I know this thing has shifted just a little bit. So we're gonna start by anchoring that corner, and then we're gonna square up that corner with that side of the shop, and then we're just gonna go ahead and make our way back down, keeping everything nice and square because we still need to anchor this to the concrete. It's been free floating for like, I think a year and a half, 2 years, in the slow process that we have been building this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and start to get everything ready. And I'm not 100% sure if I'll get to start to drill the holes tonight because I gotta work tomorrow, super early Saturday morning. I gotta head downtown, so I gotta get the Peterbilt ready too. And that kind of takes priority over this. But if I can get to it, I will. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow. It ended up being a pretty wild weekend, had a jam-packed day of work on Saturday, so we did not get to finish the gantry crane, but today is the day. And also look what showed up over the weekend. We got the Amazon special starter. And if you guys saw the last video, you guys know that I had to like piece 2 starters together to make the 1 starter work. And we have a box inside a box. So I'm just curious to see, I'm gonna go ahead and open this one up. This is a mega deluxe starter, as you can tell. And oh, well, if it wasn't broken already, it is now. Let's go ahead and try and open this thing up and see what we got going on inside. See if it appears to be the correct one. All right, well, just by looking at it on the outside, it appears to have the correct housing. So we're gonna go ahead and set this one on the shelf, and we're gonna save this one for a rainy day, because I'm sure at some point in the future, that starter will fail again, and then we'll have a backup for it. And I think she's gonna sit right there. Got a nice open spot, just calling its name. All right, so as far as the gantry crane goes though, each base has 4 holes for it. Today we're gonna start off with just 1. We're gonna basically try and square things up. We're gonna try and get everything set in place because I am going to be doing an epoxy-based anchor system. So we're just gonna do 1 for today, get everything in place. And then once everything's like actually functioning, we have the rails installed, the little roller assemblies built and welded to the I-beams. And once I know everything works for 100%, then we'll go ahead and drill the rest of them. But I would hate to actually get this thing all put back together and have something be wrong with it and have to redo 24 different holes. So we're gonna start off with just 1. I'm gonna go ahead and back the GMC out. I may even pull the Peterbilt out because when we go to clean the holes out, there's going to be quite a bit of concrete dust, and I don't particularly want that on the Peterbilt. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pull out a tool I have not used in quite a while, and that's my roto hammer. We got the Bulldog Extreme. I think these are like a 7/8 bolt. They might be 3/4 though. Let's go ahead and take a gander. 0.75, definitely 3/4. So we're gonna need, that's a 7/8. What's this guy? 3/4. I may want to go slightly larger. We may be using the 7/8. All right, well, 7/8 it is. It's almost like it was meant to be. Look how nice that fits. So now it's time for the not very enjoyable part, and that is drilling these holes. So we're gonna go ahead and set this guy right here. Let's get drilling. I actually ended up putting 2 anchors in every post for the time being because with just the 1 anchor, they were still able to twist a little bit. So they're not epoxied in yet, but they are resting in place so that it can't slide anywhere. And pretty much everything's gonna be where it is. I don't wanna epoxy them yet and tighten them down yet because there still may be some minor adjustments up here. But yeah, this ended up actually being pretty tricky. You guys can see we had 1 strap right here actually pulling these together because this one was kicked out pretty far. It had to come in that way. So I had to put those anchors in first and then pull this guy in. Anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up, and then we're gonna start to put our thinking caps on how we are going to attach those 8 wheels up to the I-beam assembly so that it can roll back and forth. And I need to find either some angle iron or some C-channel around here out at the ranch, but for now, we're gonna focus on those wheels and getting them attached to the I-beams. So I think I figured out the easiest way to do this, and we're going to be using some I-beam, pretty much like this post right here. This one has a 6-inch opening, but we're basically gonna cut it about 1 foot long, and we are going to weld it sideways onto the I-beam. We'll have 1 piece coming out this way and 1 piece going out that way. So it'll make a little bit more sense when you actually see it, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of these wheels, I'm going to basically weld it to the I-beam, and then I think that's actually gonna give us pretty close to 10 inches. I'd have to actually measure it, but just by looking at it, I think we're gonna be pretty close. So this top edge may line up pretty much exactly with the top of that I-beam, but we won't know until we actually measure it out. And I actually have to go see if I have any more of that I-beam laying around. So I'm gonna jump in the Ranger and go take a look real quick. All right, I think I found a couple pieces that might work. We're gonna go ahead and try and section this one into 4 separate pieces. You guys can see I got the plasma cutter hooked up already. So I think we're gonna come out roughly 16 inches on each side. That'll give it like a 32-inch spread, more or less, which I think is more than enough to keep that thing from twisting side to side. And I have 2 of these, which work out perfectly. So this one will take care of one of the beams, and then I have the other one in the back of the Ranger right there, that if this works, we'll just replicate it on the next beam right there. All right, start cutting. There's beautiful cut number 2. So I don't know what the technical term for these are, but you guys can see we have both of the wheels onto the outrigger or the arm or whatever that's gonna be called. But I'm gonna go ahead and tack these in place. We're gonna do like a pretty heavy tack because I'm gonna take them up there. We're gonna be like trying to mock some stuff up, trying to figure it out, see if the spacing is right. There's a whole lot of stuff that just has to like line up perfectly. And this is kind of why I've been putting it off, because I've been nervous that all of this is gonna be incorrect and I'm gonna have to redo stuff. But we've got to bite the bullet at some point and go for it. So we're gonna go ahead and get these tacked into place, and then we're gonna start on this side, see how things are looking up. I'm gonna check the spacing on that side as opposed to that side, make sure that beam is centered up, and then we'll go ahead and try and start mocking things together. Might help if I turn the gas on. Come on, James. All right, well, I went ahead and got that one lifted up a little bit. I'm not sure if you guys are gonna be able to see it very good, but there's a 2-inch piece of square tubing in there that's got that side elevated because we are gonna have to put some C-channel up there for a rail. So I need something that's gonna be able to kind of imitate where that's gonna need to sit, and that's roughly where it is. So, having said that, we are gonna go ahead and 100% weld these on there, because when I take these up there, they are getting welded onto that I-beam and they are not coming down anymore. So let me go ahead and get all these welded up, and then we're gonna go up there and clean that I-beam up so that we can get a good weld up there. And then we'll imitate the same thing on that side over there. All right, guys, well, we got a little problem. My ground cable is not long enough to reach all the way up there. So I went ahead, I dragged in one of the old welding leads that I had. We're gonna go ahead and chop that one up a little bit. I'm probably gonna go ahead and make like a 20-foot long cable. Realistically, I don't need one that long. Technically, it only needs to be as long as the one that attaches to your gun, but a little bit extra wouldn't hurt. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this up, and I'm not sure what side I wanna do it from. I'll probably start from this side. All right, so we got our new ground cable made up. Don't mind the tape right there. We're just gonna pretend that doesn't exist, but it is much longer, and we will be, but the cable is much longer, and we can reach this top beam no problem now. Look at all that extra cable we got, and I got a couple rolls up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it around this once, because my connection to the actual clamp itself is mediocre at best. So we're gonna try and let all of the weight hang off of this beam instead of the clamp. All right, so it's starting to look like something. You guys can see we got the 2 pieces welded on this side. They're not like super welded up there, but they're up there pretty good. They're not gonna be going anywhere. Once everything's like fully operational, then I'll jump back up there and I will weld the heck out of that thing, because that needs to be mega stout. We do not want that buckling and breaking up. So I like how it turned out. I think we're gonna clear that bar just barely. And so now we gotta shift gears and start working on this side, which means I gotta go ahead and prep those 2 flanges. And then now that we have a general idea of how this is gonna go, it should go a little bit quicker getting this side up and done. And then you guys can see how we have that one clamped in place. That technically could fall off if this like rotated over. because it does not have the tracks up there yet. So I haven't 100% decided how I want to do it yet. I'm leaning towards C-channel, but I don't have any is the problem. So we would need, however long this is, 20 feet. We need a 20-foot stick of it, basically as a rail system for those wheels. Or we could use angle iron. I got a ton of angle iron out here, which my inner cheapskate's probably gonna get the best of me, and that's what we're gonna end up using, even though it'll be more work. So let's go ahead and get this side up. We'll get it clamped in place. You guys can see that I already have this side all cut. We got the wheels welded on there. We got this side all prepped and ready. So really all we have left to do is to undo that clamp, lift it up. We're gonna go ahead and weld it on each side up there. And then we're gonna do the same thing over here. Then you guys can see I dragged in a piece of angle iron for some testing purposes. I've got about 5 other sticks, maybe 6 other sticks on the other side of the GMC. So after we get all these things welded up, we're gonna go ahead and build the track assembly. So I'm starting to get pretty excited because I think I started this project 2 years ago, give or take. It was a while ago. So super excited to get this done. I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera up on a time lapse. You're probably gonna see some stuff that's a little bit on the sketchy side. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get to work. All right, so I'm gonna go grab a quick bite to eat, but you guys can see we got that one welded in place now. We just have this one left to do. We are getting so close. I'm so excited to have this thing done. As you guys can tell, that beam right there, it's actually not in the same place that it has been for the last 2 years. It has rolled back under its own power. I'll take the GoPro up there in just a second, kind of show you guys. But I do have a piece of angle iron that's just clamped down on the top of it right now, so we kind of have like a rail assembly. I am gonna add another safety feature to it, and we're gonna put some sort of metal bar that comes down and then goes underneath the bottom side of that beam, which is gonna have its pros and cons. If we do that, it means that it's only gonna be able to travel from that post to that post. We're not gonna be able to go the whole length, and it's gonna be the same thing on that one. It's only gonna be able to go from that post to that post. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I am just a little bit paranoid. I wanna make sure that there's no possible way that this thing can fall off the top of the beam. We do live in California, there are earthquakes. Now, is it gonna lift this beam up and fall off? I highly doubt it, but I'm gonna try and minimize all possibilities. So it is gonna restrict a little bit of the functionality, but I would rather be safe than sorry. But as far as today goes, we're almost done. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up this side, and then we'll do a test from there to there, and then with that one, we'll do a test from there to there, because that's the only distance that they're gonna be traveling. And I'm gonna have to add a little bit more angle iron. It stops right here. That's where the 20-foot mark is. So we're gonna have to add like another 5 or 6 feet over here and another 5 or 6 feet over there. But that's easy stuff. We are so close to being done. I know I keep saying today's the day, but I think it's gonna be tomorrow. So regardless, let me go ahead and get this welded up, and then we got some testing to do. All right, guys, pretty huge milestone. I'm super excited about this. Check it out. We got one beam with the wheels on it, 2 beams with the wheels on it, and they both slide just beautifully. Here we go with beam number 1. We're gonna go ahead and pull it. You guys can see how nicely that moves. We got our C-clamps right there for the bump stops. Ugh, having a hard time pulling it all the way. Come on, James. Yeah. So I got to figure out something over there that actually stops it from like going over the edge. Then as far as this one goes, it rolls just as nicely. So here goes test number 2. And let's go. Look at that. Super, super cool. You guys, this is just unreal. I'm so excited about this, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the day because I got some stuff I gotta take care of tonight before tomorrow happens. But when I get back, we will finish the track assembly and I'll see you guys then. All right, guys, so we hardly have anything left to do. Today is 100% gonna be the day that the gantry crane gets finished. I've got 2 more pieces to cut for the track system up there, and then we gotta build the little safety mechanisms, then I have to finish welding the rest of the angle iron. Then we're done, and then I get to clean this out. We get to pull in the F550 and kind of start taking the cab off. I gotta start to figure that one out. But you guys, I'm just like super excited that today's the day we're actually gonna finish this thing. So I'm gonna get to work. There's really not a whole lot left to do, and let's get this thing done. All right, so up here we got a 63-inch piece, just a little bit shy of 63 inches. It doesn't need to be like spot on, because really if it hangs over a 1/16 of an inch, it's not gonna be the end of the world. Come on, take me easy. All right, just so we don't forget. All right, guys, well, it's pretty much done. We got both the rails welded all the way up. Everything's fully welded on the beams that go back and forth. They move very nicely. The only thing that's missing is this guy right here. I decided to go ahead and add a small piece of square tubing at the end. I still need to figure out some sort of super fail-safe bump stop system, but for now, this is gonna work. It's gonna keep it from rolling off of the edge. And then the part that's gonna be on the bottom, that's gonna be like the mega fail-safe, I need to think about that one a little bit. So for the time being, I'm gonna go ahead and weld this last little square up there, and that'll keep these from like falling off the edge. All 3 other corners already have it. This is the only one that's missing it. And now that I'm looking at it, I realize my grinder's still up on that beam. So I need to grab that grinder real quick, clean it off a little bit up there, and then we are done for the day. All right, guys, well, we are 100% done. The gantry crane is finished, and I know the bump stops on that side already work. We're just gonna go ahead and give this one a quick little test. We're gonna pull this one over, and as much as I would like to pull the Ford in here and start working on it today, I actually got to get going in a little bit. I couldn't bear the thought of leaving this and having the potential to have it actually fall off. So we're gonna give it one. Ooh, here she comes. I guess I should probably back up just in case something fails. There we are, she stopped. And we're looking pretty good, and it actually rubs along that tension rod up there, but that's not the end of the world. I don't ever foresee us really going that far anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and slide this thing back. Guys, look how nice that glides. Oh, this is so cool. You guys, I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I've actually been really nervous to tackle this because I wasn't 100% sure how I was gonna do it, but this just turned out phenomenal. I love this so stinking much. All right, but like I said, I gotta get going. So first thing when I get back in the morning, I'm gonna clean all this up. We're gonna be pulling the Ford in here, and we're gonna start doing some work. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Later. All right, so I've only got about 1 hour before I gotta take off. So we're gonna go ahead and try and get all this cleaned out real quick. And I actually forgot, there's still one more weld that I need to do. And it is on the back side of that I-beam that rolls this way. So as soon as I get that done, we're gonna go ahead and pull the Ford in here. So I'm gonna put the camera down, but I'm a little bit pressed for time, so I'm gonna try and crank this out real quick. We'll probably just set the camera up on a time lapse, and when everything's all said and done, this is gonna be clean, and we're gonna pull the Ford in here.
I get the money and it's right on cue. Keep the duffel bag up inside my coupe. Hold a couple racks, tell them I love you. You wanna be a boss, do it like I do. Yeah. Get that money, I'ma flex. I get that money, I'ma flex. I get that money, I'ma flex. You now rockin' with the best. snake eyes. I'm the same guy, on the same grind. Busy printing money, watch the paint dry. My intuition told me through the grapevine that I'ma get rich and I ain't lying, yeah. Get that money, I'ma flex. I get that money, I'ma flex. I get that money, I'ma flex. You now rockin' with the best.
All right, guys, well, I'm pretty stoked right now. It's been a long time coming, but the gantry crane is finally 100% operable. It rolls front to back just beautifully. We got the bump stops on there, and I guess it's time to actually put this thing to work now. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide this one all the way down to this end. And we'll go ahead and slide this one over as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull Brad's truck into the shop because I'm gonna have to do a little bit of brainstorming. I need to figure out if I'm going to need another set of these chain hoists and 2 more trolleys, because I don't know if I can pick the cab up with just 2 pick points. I might need 4. So I got a little bit of thinking to do, and if I do have to acquire some more stuff, there's gonna be some Facebook Marketplace searching, some OfferUp searching, trying to find some good deals, because anything related to that is always super expensive. You guys, this truck is so rad. This thing is just like the epitome of a hand-built truck. I love this thing. But let's go ahead and get it started up, let it warm up for a minute, and we'll get it into the shop. I may have lost the key. Poop. Never mind, I found it. Ooh, she is cold-blooded. She needs an electric lift pump for sure. Whoa. All right, yeah, we're gonna let her sit for a minute or 2. All right, here we go, pulling into the shop. So anybody that is familiar with the old Cummins 12 valves, the 94 to 98 editions, they are notorious for having the fuel shutdown solenoid fail, and this one was no exception to the rule. So this truck at one point did have a PTO, and Brad took where it was and he actually routed the cable to where the fuel shutdown solenoid connects. So as you pull this up, it's pretty much acting as the solenoid, and it pulls the little lever up, which shuts the engine off. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how that works real quick. This truck is like 100% mechanical fail-proof. Love this thing. So we're gonna go ahead and turn the key off. And as far as stuff that I can do today, that's gonna be about it, because I actually gotta get going. I got some work that I gotta do, but the truck is actually in the shop now, which is a pretty huge deal, because now I can start focusing on tearing this thing apart so that we can get the engine all fixed for Brad. Super excited, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up, but super excited for this truck. It's gonna make for a ton of cool content. We're just gonna be diving into everything. It's gonna be super rad. Super excited to have the gantry crane done. Thank you guys for watching. If you could do me a huge solid like, subscribe, share this with amigos, hit that notification button down below so you guys can continue to see progress on the F550 Cummins and whatever else we got going on, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.